Hello everybody, we've been a long time since we've done any more work on PAT. So here we are back at our program, and we have to fix up some things. First of all, we must remember that we have our relationship diagram, a one table and a many side of our database structure, which is the recipient table. So I've got a one message goes to many recipients. That's why the foreign key is there, which is the primary key of the table on the one side, which is put over there as a foreign key on the many side of the relationship. And we have to go and delete a message. Now if we delete a message, if we want to delete any message, then we have to first delete the message ID wherever it occurs on this table over here before we can actually delete the message properly on that table. So in order to do that, we have to go to the recipient table first and go through each one to see if we have the message ID that we want to delete, and then delete the row. But we have a problem because we don't want to delete all our recipients. So instead we're going to change the message ID. We're not going to delete it. When we see the matching message ID, say message ID 2 has to be deleted. Well, if we see a 2 over there, we're going to change it to another number. And I've created in the database table, in the message table, I've created a special message saying no message yet, as being message ID number 3. So I can now replace anything in the recipient table with that message number 3. The message ID can be replaced. So that's what we are basically doing here in the delete the message. So first of all, the user is going to choose a message, which will be this combo box filled with all the original messages when we navigate to it from here, or in the on show event of the form, which I think we did do already. No, we didn't. We can fill the combo box up with all the messages here. In the delete message, we haven't filled any combo box up. So in the delete message button, btn go to delete message. So we're deleting the message, so we have to fill up the combo box on this tab sheet, TVS delete message, with all the messages that we want to delete. This tab sheet is called TVS delete message. If I go onto the on show event here, there it is, I have filled up the combo box with all the original messages that the user can choose from. So it was filled up in the on show event. Then when we click this button, we're going to find out what the message ID is for that message chosen, and we do so first getting the message from the combo box we want to be deleted, using a while loop and setting a Boolean flag, setting Boolean flag to false, with the data module do begin and end, and while we are not at the end of the table and b found is false, we're going to go through every single row using this dot next. If the original message equals to the combo box, then we will get our RID, set b found to true, and we know the loop will stop, processor will be happy. Then we have to go and get to the first row of the recipient table. Why? Because when we see the message ID equal to whatever that RID is, we want to edit it and give it a new message ID number 3, which is the one that I created there, so that I know that I can now delete the message from the message table. So we go back to our message table, and we've got to set b found equal to false. Do we have to set b found equals to false? Well, no, because there could be many recipients. So let's go back to this. Many recipients will have a message ID, so we're going to go through every single row of the table, so we do not need b found equals to false over here. all we need is one condition while we're not at the end of the table. If we're not going to use our Boolean flag, then we know that the process will go through every single row of the table to check. But if we do that, yeah, we're not, wait, this one, yeah, we're over here, yeah, we didn't use a B file false, but, oh yes, of course, sorry, I'm confusing myself and you. When we change the message ID, we didn't use a Boolean flag. When we changed the message ID to 3, because we knew there were many that we might change, as per this diagram, there's many. That's the many side. So over here, when we go and delete the message, we do have to say B found equals false. When we go to the other table, the original table where the message is, this side, so we're back on the one side now, we have to have a Boolean flag to stop the loop from running while we are actually looking for the message ID that we want to delete. We set it to true when we do delete it, and there we're done. Then we could actually show a message here. If B found equals true, then show message message deleted. Could even go and put that original message, which is over here, S message, else we'll say no message deleted. So that is what we can do, but of course in our display we do need to refresh this database grid, so that'll be a good idea to do. It's the message table, so I'm going to go and find my message table. I'm going to go to the on show event of this and see the code, because I want to copy and paste. There we go. We want to copy and paste that, so after we delete the message, that a table can be refreshed. That is rather a good thing to do. I'm sure you'll agree. Yeah, so that's it. And check how it works. So I want to delete a message, we choose the one. See, there's my number 3. Delete this message. This is a replacement, not deleted. Right, and you know why that was? Because we did not find any row in the recipient table. There's nothing there with the corresponding. In fact, I wanted to delete number 2, but there wasn't anything in the other table. So what we should have done is have a condition here. If we can't find another table, we're going to delete it anyway. So over here we are going to have some kind of a counter here. I do actually want to make a B found equals false, or a flag of some sort, so there's a flag there, okay? And if we find a match, we'll set B found equal to true, and then we in the recipient table, you know, the recipient where we have to go and change all the message IDs to 3 there. If we don't find anything in the recipient table, then B found will stay false. Take note, I'm not going to use it in the while loop because I want, edit, undo. I'm not going to use it in the while loop condition because I don't want it to change unless I find at least one match over here in this if statement. Then I set it to true, and at the end of this loop I'm going to do the following. Yeah. If b found is true, then we know we found one in there, in the other thing. But that shouldn't make any difference at all, should it? No, it shouldn't, because regardless of whether we find one in the recipient table, we should still be able to delete it. So the best thing here is to, what is this? Original. Okay. Let's go and see if I can delete that by putting a trace on our ID. See what happens when we find number 2. Our ID is supposed to be 2 if I choose the correct message. Okay, fine. And even if we don't find it, shouldn't make any difference over here. We don't need a Boolean flag. We're going through each table here, but this else is actually wrong. That else should not be there. This is not a delete thing. We only use else when we're going to delete lots of things. So I think that was possibly a problem. I'm going to delete this Boolean flag over here. Okay. Let's go through the code carefully now. Right, we get our message from the comma box. We set b found to false because we're actually going to do a loop through and find the ID. There it is. If original equals that, then that ID is equal to the message ID from TBL message table. Sorry, from this table, going through this table one at a time. If you find the original equal to whatever the combo box is, then we've got our ID. Okay, setting b found to true to stop the loop because maybe it's right at the beginning. Right, then we go to the recipient table and look for the message ID in the recipient table. When we find that, then we say edit and post. If we don't find anything, it shouldn't affect what we're going to do next, which is delete. And I think that else that I put there shouldn't have actually influenced anything either. But I took it away because else is only when you're deleting many things. Right, now over here we want to actually delete that message, and everything should be fine right there. And yeah, if I go to my table, you'll see that this is a replacement is still here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a trace on our ID. So you highlight it, you go to run, and then you click on add watch, and then I click OK. But now I must go to my watch list at the bottom here, right click on stay on top, then I click F7. F7 on the keyboard lets us trace through. Can you see that our ID is sitting over there? I want to see if I have a number 2. I just click F7. This is like running the processor in slow motion. So basically just setting up everything now, and I'm holding my finger on the F7 key simply because I can't wait that long. Oops. Okay, now it's given me the option to choose here, so I'm going to click on delete a message, and I'm going to click F7. You see, each time I click the button, the process is going through everything. Okay, it's going to do that now. Setting up the database grid. This is my set grid column widths. Now it's adding the, and then it's doing that again. Okay, now it's giving me an option. Now I have to choose. So I'm going to choose this is a replacement. I'm going to click delete this message. Now the process is going to do its thing. So we're going to see. Okay, our ID. Alright, let's go and look. It's going through the loop. ID is still naught. ID is still naught. ID is still naught. So you see, there's the issue there. Our ID has not been given a value, and that is why. So in other words, over here there's something wrong. Already CMB can you see that? There it is, CMB del message. This is a CMB message to edit.txt. Wrong code right there. So you see how nice it is to have that trace. Really shortens your time with writing programs. You can find your problem quite easily by putting a trace on any variable. You can add any variable. Just click on any variable. Say I want to click on that one, and I can go to run, add watch, and then click OK, and then it's down there as well. You can always close your watch list. But anyway, we solved that problem. We saw what the problem was. Much easier to see it that way than to go and trace through every single code. So what was the problem? In the delete this message, I got my string S message, the one I want to delete, and I made it equal. I was checking to see if the original was equal to some other combo box. So obviously it was never going to happen. So let's go and do that now. Run it. Go to delete this message. Choose. I'm going to choose this is a replacement, and I'm going to delete this message, and there it was. Works 100%. So we got that done. Let's fix some other things up. We were working in such a hurry last term. Add recipient. Now edit message is fine. You will see that we did the edit message, and I'm happy enough with that. Then the add recipient. Now the thing here with add recipient, we wrote code to add from a text file into 3 different arrays for whatever reason. They were global arrays, and then we basically also added the names into this combo box over here to choose a name and then choose a message for that particular name. So this button is actually linked up there. So we can only access the names in this combo box after clicking on add from a text file. And in the add this one, we put we used the array of names. Oh yeah, we were busy with that too. Okay, so we had CMB names to add dot text and CMB choose message. Right. And then add this one. Reason why? What's the problem with adding recipient? Well, we have to choose a message ID. There's an easy way and a difficult way to do it, and obviously we're doing it the difficult way by adding it from a text file of names. So we can have a whole ton of names over here, and that's it. And we've got fields separated with semicolons. So if we go back to reading from the text file, we have full name, email, cell, and then the message ID has to be added separately. Full name, email, cell. So this is Joe X, and that's the full name, and then email and cell. You can add a whole lot of names there. Sorry. If we want to add all of this from the text file, we go back to the button add from a text file, check if the file exists, sound file reset, this CMV names to add.clears because we're going to add the names into the comma box as well. I'm actually questioning if that is a good idea, and actually I think it's not. So adding from a text file is a completely separate process to choosing a message for a person once you add. But if you're using a combination, then it does work, as long as the real user knows that this must be on a separate panel, separate area, so that they only do these buttons if they want to add from a text file. Because what we have to do is for every single name we choose here, we have to choose a message that we want to send to that person, and we're assuming there'll be lots of names in the text file. And we have to choose a message which is already existing in the table called message. As you can see, that one is deleted there, so we've only got one message and the number 3. Right, so let's move on to, sorry, I was just checking to make sure I was recording. We're going to move on to, add from a text file goes and puts the names and the email and the cell into 3 different arrays. Fine, that's good, because we've got them all in parallel arrays, and we've added the names to the combo box. When we add this message, what are we actually trying to do? We want to put the message, the person and the message that's going to them, we want to put it into the database table called recipients. So we get the name from the combo box, name to add, the message from choose message to add. I've got a counter over here for some reason, but we'll find out now why. There's a reason why we did that. I know this is where we left off, I think, last time, I'm sure. Yep, choosing the name and choosing a message. Now, that combo box was filled over here with the names from the text file. Okay. When we add the names to the recipient table, we need a full name, email, cell, and the actual message ID. If I go to my home tab, I want to view my table in design view. See, the primary key is an auto number, which helps a lot. We don't have to worry about that. We know we're going to do a dot insert and a dot post. In the names of the combo box, we know that they're in but we put them in sorted. We sorted them. See, that was a bit of a problem. Maybe we shouldn't have sorted them, but maybe we want to sort them, because why? We want to choose a name and then go and put it into and choose the right message for that particular name. We don't want to be far down. We want to be able to see the names properly in alphabetical order. Let's imagine that there's 100 names in the text file. Now I've only got one, but imagine there's 100. So when we find that name, we've got to find the corresponding box in the array. So there we are, going through the array. Oh yeah, that's right, because we were going through array. Now normally we use a for loop to go through array, don't we? Yeah, that's what we explained last time. I remember now. We were going from how many? What is the counter for the array? Our count. Call it our count for these. 1, 2, 3. I don't know what ARR mid is, but we'll find out now. Forgotten most of the stuff that we did last time. Anyway, we get the box number of the array is rnum. I could give it another variable name, why not? rbox, rar box num, and I'll change it over here. And anywhere else that it might be, ARR num. If you don't know how to do that, it's a cool trick. If you want to change the name of a variable and you have to change it in many places in the code, you highlight the block of code in which you want to find that variable, and then you click those two yellow pen objects called sync edit mode. You click on it and then you can type in any of the arrays. So if I change this, then it will change it everywhere in this highlighted area, and then you just click away. Anyway, that's a cool trick. What we are doing here is we're getting which box number is AR names, okay? We're incrementing a counter. Oh, nah. Pos name, that's the one. This is a counter that's going to go up to until we find the actual name, and then we do that, then we're going to store that counter into an integer called the position pos name. Okay, pos name is good enough. So AR box number is going to start at 0 and we'll increment it for 1. Check if AR names is equal to the name from the combo box, and if it is, we'll set our boolean flag to true. Why? Because we don't want to go through an array of 1,000 boxes if that's the names in the first box. So that's why we have our b found equal false. I forgot to set b found equal to false, didn't I? I've got to say b found colon equals false. Then we can go ahead. Silly me. Right, so if b found is still false after going through the array, then we're going to say we're going to show a message and exit. Now these are what you have to put into your program so that you can have a robust program. This is called validation or avoiding errors, basically. So we're checking to see if b found is false. If it is, it's still false after going through looking for the name, then we've got to say name not found, try another name. You never know, maybe it's not found, maybe somebody typed something in the combo box by mistake. You have to worry about human error all the time when you're writing a code, in a program. Right, so there we go. We've got our error checking there. Said okay, our pos number is our error box number. So we get our pos name. Our pos name. What are we going to do with our pos name? That's the box number of our what do we call it? The box number of the array. So we know that's where the name is. Why do we want the message ID? Oh yeah, mid is the message ID, the array of message IDs, because remember we have to have, besides, if you look at the table, besides that one, that one, that one, we also have to have a message ID array. And yeah, we've got pos num as being the array box of the name that we want to go and add. So our box num is that. Not our box num, sorry, our pos name is being set to the array box number that we're going to use later on to insert from the arrays. We're going to insert into a database from the actual array. Then b found equals false. Why are we going through TBL message now? Because we want to get the message ID for this. We've dealt with that. Now we're dealing with the combo box for choose message, and this is not, shouldn't be message to edit. This should be message choose message, CMB choose message. Dot text. So how is CMB choose message? Says CMB choose message to add. CMB choose message to add. Now how was that combo box filled up? That's the question. If we go to the onShow event I mean, how is that filled up with messages? If I go to the on show event of this tab sheet, let's see if I did it in on show. Yes, and so I did. CMB, choose message to add. Cleared it and then sorted it and everything. Now to BTN add this one, we're going to go through our message table and find the message ID, IMID, and then we're putting it into array ARMID, at which particular place RPOS name, because RPOS name is the position of the name in AR names. Now we can go and do our insert. Now when you want to insert, where are we inserting into again? We're inserting into recipient. When we read from the text file, we filled up these arrays with all of the things from the text file. Let's imagine that there were 1,000 lines. And then we also now have that in our array. We have all the message IDs in an array parallel because we used RPOS name. Remember this RPOS name? Now we're going to insert into our table. I'm going to say TBL recipient dot insert. Now when you insert, you don't use a loop, so that's quite handy. We have to get all our names. It's full name. Oops, sorry. Oh dearie me. Oh dearie me. Okay. Full name colon equals AR names. See, I don't have to worry. I just say RPOS name is the box number, and then yeah, I'm going to copy and paste because there's a couple. 1, 3, 4, 5, I think. Let's see, I need to have full name, email, cell, message, ID. Full name, email, cell, and then message ID. And that is going to be ARR mid, and I think this is called ARR cell. This is probably ARR email, and then so RPOS name square brackets is an integer, which is the box number of the thing, and then all we do is TBL recipient dot post. Now, of course, we want to refresh the display, and then we're going to see if it actually works. I'm trying to look for code I can copy and paste. Right, I guess we can copy and paste over here when we go to the recipient. Okay, when we go there, here we go. There it is. We add recipient, we're adding one at a time. That end must go. We've got the right DB grid as well, because then we'll be able to see our updated table. Let's see if this works. Probably some syntax error somewhere along the line. TBL recipe. Yeah. Oh, my control key is a bit stuck. Oh, that was fine. Right, let's try it again, shall we? Now I'm going to go and add recipient, add from text file, and then these names are filled. There it is, Joe X. This is a new one, add this one, and there we go. And that would be message ID 1, which is correct. So we've added a recipient, set, that was good job. But of course these things are a little bit cramped up there. We do need to be able to see, so move it along this way. Now if you want to go and add a recipient one by one, then obviously it's pretty easy, but it might be a good idea to separate that from the other work. And then it's quite a simple job here to go and get an edit box for the name, an edit box for the cell. What else do we need? An email, edit box for the email. Don't forget to name all your things properly, and then we also have to have a combo box for the messages, and then only then can we go and have a button. And I don't know why I'm doing this, but anyway, just making it a little bit larger so you can see. And of course, you must remember that the combo box sometimes could have long messages in it. Don't forget to put your labels in and everything, so that will work. Now this is a simple matter where the person's going to type in to these edits and choose a a message, and if they don't want to choose a message, they can use number 3, no message yet. So that's a good one to choose. Must call this btn add this recipient. This is edt new name. Got to give your things the right, your edit components names. You use marks if you don't. Edt new cell, edt new email. I'm calling it all new email just to make it different. cmb new message. Of course we have to go and find the corresponding message ID for that, and this has to be filled when we navigate to this tab sheet. So guess what? The on show event of the tab sheet is the best place to go to do it. cmb new message. So all I'm going to do is over here where I'm filling the other one, new message dot clear. Always got to clear it first, otherwise you're going to have a mess. And then of course over here we will also add the original message to cmb new message, and then of course we'll do the sorted equals true stuff. Then you know that this combo box will be filled. Now we're going to, we can't just add the dot text, we've got to go and find what that RID is. Right, so we're going to do that. var RID integer. Oops. And then we're going to do this loop story again. Yeah, and I'm copying and pasting. Yep, I'm copying and pasting. And why not? Because I can. So we have S message. You see, you're using the same variable names, but they are local variables, so you can. This is cmb message, cmb new message, cmb new message, new message. And I've got my Boolean flag here. Just got to make sure I've got the variables for it. And then of course there's it, RID, and there we go. Now we've got the RID, and now all we have to do is go and get a, just got to go and get a TBL insert and stuff going. Oops, not there. This is end of using the module, end of using the data module. Don't forget you have lots of comments in your program. So now we do is say TBL recipient dot insert. And doesn't this ring a bell? Let's copy and paste, shall we? Oh, might as well do all of that too. This is one thing I left out with adding the, we'll come back to that later. So there we go. Copying and pasting, because full name, it's not going to be ARR, it's going to be EDT new name.text. And this is EDT email.text. And this is EDT cell.text. And this is EDT RD no RRD. It's an integer. So post and then true. There we go, that's it. Adding one recipient. Over here we can also say, well, if b found equals false, then you'll exit. So we can also do that and say if b found equals false, because we set it to true when we find it, then we can show a message and say that the show message not found, oh sorry, yeah, message not found, and be found, oh wait, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say RRD colon equals 3. That's what I'm going to do. No message yet. So, and then over there it will be RRD necessary. That's if. Yeah, and yeah, that will be if b found is false. After going through looking for the RID, we're just going to leave it at no message, and we'll still insert it at RID number 3. Okay, problem is that inside this table here, you have to have a message ID. It's compulsory. That's what the relationship diagram is enforcing, that integrity. You can't have nothing here in message ID. Is required. You can go and check. If you go and look at the recipient table, I'm going to go and look at the design view, and you'll click on that. It says indexed. Oops. So indexed, yes, general. Okay, no duplicates. No wait, that's got nothing to do with it. Oh wait, there's a message ID. Sorry, message ID. Oh, it says required no. Okay, fine. So we don't actually have it. We don't have to have it. So if we set that to yes, then we will have to choose something there, you know. But required no means, okay, maybe we don't actually have to, but I'm doing it anyway because it's a good idea. Right, sorry about my son's dog barking in the background. He wants to play with other dogs, but I'm not going to let him. Right, what's next? So we added a bunch from the text file, we added from here, but I remember, oh yeah, there was a problem with this. You see, over here, if we add from a text file, okay, we put it into all those arrays, but we've got to add them one by one. There could be 100 messages, there could be 100 lines in the text file, so there'd be 100 names in the combo box that we have to sort out. And if you want, and we're adding it one by one, we choose a name and choose a name, choose a name, choose. Maybe we should choose a name until we've got no more names to choose. Yeah, and delete it from the combo box. How are we going to delete a name from the combo box? Well, if we look at our combo box, we have some options here in the properties. I know we have items, okay, and if there's names there, okay, Jane, Joel, John, whatever, okay, and there's names here, okay. The first name is item number index 0. Well, we can move things up. This is advanced programming, okay. We can move things up, in other words, remove, delete an item from the combo box. But that would be the same as, yeah, we're not going to delete from the array, we only want to delete from the combo box. And no, there's no magic button that says delete, but you never know, we're going to check this one out. I have to say this is not something I've actually done before. I haven't deleted anything from a combo box list. But it's a bit like an array, deleting from an array. You can use that concept because it's items which have index numbers from 0. In fact, like I said, this is more advanced coding, so if you want to get extra marks for your advanced coding, then this is a good plan to follow. I'm just going to give you an idea of the combo box, okay? So we'll number it horizontally, although arrays I normally draw them vertically, but I'll draw this horizontally. Just make it large enough so you can see. Okay, so Jane, John, Joe, just for want of better names, Tom, Sally, whatever. Right, so I've just got some names in there. Okay, let's just say we're going to go through each name, and the item index is numbered from 0. So that is number 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the item index, and this is the actual combo box name. So when we see Jane and you want to delete it, well, don't we actually want to move all of those names up like that? Yeah, we want to actually get John in there. John must be 0, and Joe must be 1, and Tom must be 7. When you want to delete John, well, then we're going to move there. And when you want to delete Joe, then we will move Tom there. We want to delete Tom, then we move Sally in its place. And when you want to delete Sally, then we're just basically going to say, well, let's see if that works. We can use a loop to delete. We can move, basically it's not deleting, it's just putting something in its place. So we'll put John in Jane's place, and Joe's going to be in John's place. So we're moving the index up 1. Okay, and let's try and formulate a plan here. Why do we want to do that? Because when we get our name from our combo box here, names to add, okay, we know that that would be, well, which number would it be? We don't know, do we? Or we can go and keep track of it. Our name can be equal to CMB names to add, which is this CMB, that one. We're inside this button, CMB names to add dot item index. Fine. Well, once you've done that, we want to then go, as long as we have basically, deleted the message from the database. Okay, once everything's been done, over here, wait, no, we haven't deleted it there. Wait, this was adding a message. No, once we've added the name successfully to the database, okay, then we can do it anyway, really. Over here is fine. So now we've got our name, okay, and that's the index, and we want to put our name, we're going to say CMB names to add dot items, okay, wait, item index must be wait, we want to use a for loop, eh? We're going to say from, okay, let's go back to our thing. Let's say Joe is the name that chose first, okay? So I'm going to move Tom and Sally into Joe. So item index is 2. So I'm going to go from item index 3 to 4. from item index number 3 to 4, which is 2 plus 1. Do it another way. I can say I can go from 2 to the item index. Well, how do we know how many things are in that combo box? Alright, let's make a variable and see if we can count how many things altogether. We don't need to know how many things exactly are in the combo box. Of course, that can come from the text file. Remember when we read from the text file, then we know that the names that we read from the text file will go into a variable. We read a line and we incremented a counter. Our count is the number of names in the text file. So the total number of names in the combo box is our count, well, the last digit. So if our count is 5, so there were 5 lines, our count equals 5. Sorry. So our count equals 5. As you can see, it's numbered from 0 to 4. So the last digit in the combo box is going to be 5 minus 1, our count minus 1. So we'll go from, let's say we'll go from the number of the name, which is the item index of that name. See, the item index of the name, item index, where is it? Item index of the name. Where did we get the item index of the name? Over there. Our name. That's our item index of our name that we chose. It's an item index in the combo box. So say we chose 2. We want to move number 3 to 2 and number 4 to 3. So we'll use a loop. So for k equals we're going to use a loop here. Where are we going to start? The 3 to our count. Are we going to do 3? I don't know. We're going to do 2. We're going to say CMB box number K equals CMB minus 1 equals CMB box number K. Okay. If we do that, K is going to be 3 to start off with, okay? And we are saying here now, in this first line, K is starting with 3. CMB 3 minus 1 is 2. It's going to be whatever CMB K is, which is 3. So that's that. That's what's going to be the first run. Okay, I'm just going to delete that. And so this is going to be Tom. Let me delete this so we don't get confused. And that's where we're doing that, okay? Then K then goes to 4. Now our count is 5, isn't it? So it actually should be our count minus 1. For K equals 3 to our count minus 1. We wanted to go to 4 because box number, because 3 goes there, then Sally must go over here, not so. But how are we going? But Sally is still sitting here in box number 4. So what are we going to do now? We're going to basically say that CMB box number our count minus 1 equals an empty string. That's it. So our count minus 1, where do we get that from? That was the array. Okay, array was 1 to 5, but then we put those names into our combo box. So that's just to get the number of items that are in the combo box. We use our count, which is our global array counter. So I'm going to use that code. And because I can't remember anything, I will copy and paste. Oh no, I won't. So for K equals 3 to our count minus 1, do combo box K minus 1 equals combo box K. That's going to move everything up, and we're going to do that only after we have inserted everything. For K equals Because remember, we're only inserting one line at a time. Equals our name to our count. What is our name? Remember, it's actually not our name, it's our name plus 1. Because if our name is 2, well, remember we were trying to delete, so it's our name plus 1. If you don't want to start that, you can just say our name equals, or you can just increment our name if you want. And then we'll have the right number over here. We don't need to do the plus 1 here. So for k equals our name to our count minus 1, do, okay, you can do begin and end, or you can, because it's only one box, box number, what is it? See, I've got to go and read, because k minus 1 equals CMB box number k minus 1 colon equals CMB names to add box number k. Okay, so it'll do that, and then what we have to do is box number r count minus 1, which is the number 4 here, because the combo box starts from 0 and arrays start from 1. So C, in this case, C arrays can start from the number 0 too. Add box number r count minus 1, the last box must be equal to an empty string. Oops. Dot items. Stupid me, I forgot the property dot items. CMB dot items, and this is also CMB dot items. And there it is. Now what's going to happen is, what if the CMB dot items, if it's an empty string? Because remember, we're going to click that button until we get no more names. So we're going to have another message here. If sname equals an empty string, it means we come to the end, begin and end. We're going to show a message. No more names to add, and we will exit this procedure, and there we're done. So let's see if that works. Oops. Okay, what? CMB new message. Oh, okay, some more errors. Declare EDT. Oh, editing, is this which button is this? CMB new message, CMB new email, CMB new cell. Where? What? CMB add the recipient. Oh, it's the right place. That's why you've got to put proper names on your button so you know which code you're in. Otherwise you're going to get horribly lost. Okay, let's go and add a recipient. So we add from a text file, and so you'll see there's Joe X. I'm going to add him again. I'm going to click on no message yet, add this one, and then I'll go over here. Can you see there's nothing left? And if I try and add this message, there's no more names to add. So that's good. That makes sure that you go through all. So you've got to write a message saying, telling the people they must go through until they don't have any more names over here. Otherwise you won't have added them from the text file properly. No mean. Right, so that's that done. Now the edit recipient, you don't have to do it. You don't actually have to do everything. We did do editing a message, and we can do editing a recipient, because obviously people's cell numbers change. You must decide what you're going to change about the recipient. Well, the email address and their cell could change, and then of course we could choose another message for a recipient. That could also happen. So quite a lot of options there. And then deleting recipient is pretty simple and straightforward. It will do those two things in the next episode. So we'll see you later.